Hi, this is Overlooked, and I'm Golda Arthur. A few months ago, I invited a small group of listeners to sit down and intentionally craft their story in sound. This was a storytelling workshop that focused on something very specific: their health. Their stories about health and illness, diagnosis, and recovery is what you're about to hear in this episode of Overlooked. These immersive and personal audio stories from our listener community have come out of the very first storytelling workshop from Overlooked, and it's called First Person Health. It teaches participants how to tell their stories beautifully in sound. The women who took part in First Person Health documented what they've lived through, how it changed their lives, and what it means to them. They went on to share these stories with the people who need to understand them, with their loved ones, and even with their healthcare providers. If you have a story about your health journey that needs to be shaped and shared and preserved, that's what First Person Health is for. Check out our show notes in the episode description to find out how you can be part of the next workshop. So let's start this episode by hearing a story of diagnosis from Spencer Moore.
I was sitting in this small room with my husband. It was basically a desk and a bookshelf. There were 2 chairs and a computer screen. And my husband and I were waiting for the doctor to come in. And the computer screen was kind of facing us a bit, and it had my results on the screen. Me, being a very curious, somewhat nosy soul, decided to peek over the desk and look at the screen. And it was there that I saw it say stage 0/1 breast cancer. My jaw kind of fell open. And I looked at my husband and I said, "Oh my God, it means that it's breast cancer." And he said, "Let's just wait for the doctor to come in. Let's just wait." And I was just shocked in that moment. I guess I knew that we were there for something. I'd had all this tests done. I'd had a regular mammogram. I had a stereotactic biopsy. But I didn't really believe that anything was going to come back like a cancer. And I was shocked. And I thought, well, here I am and here we go. I sat in the room with my husband waiting for the doctor, which honestly felt like forever. She walked in. By that time, the screen had gone to sleep. It was now black. So she unlocked the screen and she said, "We have your results. It has come back as a carcinoma." She seemed very nonchalant about it. Here I am kind of already processing this shock that I have, that there will be treatments and things that we have to do for this. And she was just really, it's a carcinoma. It's really no big deal. It's not cancer. You will need to treat it, but it's not cancer. And I started getting hot. I started getting annoyed because the more she kept saying it's not cancer, it was woven into this conversation of, you'll need to have surgery to remove the carcinoma. And then that's it. And then there'll be some other things that will come. And she was just very vague. And I remember saying, "What are the other things that will come?" And she said, "Well, you'll need to have radiation and maybe there'll be some other things." And then I said, "Okay, well, what will the other things be?" And she said, "Well, you'll be on a hormone treatment and you'll need to do that for a while, but those will all come." I can understand, one, that she probably deals with patients that are walking into a stage 4 diagnosis, and that's a lot different. And so the lightness that she was talking about it, it was light. It was great that we found this so early. But for me, it was still such a shocking moment, such a scary moment for me. And I just felt so annoyed that she just kept saying it's not cancer, but yet it was going to be treated as if it were cancer. It took me some time to settle into that feeling and then start looking at, okay, what's the plan? My aunt, a family member of mine, had gone through a similar diagnosis a few months actually before me. So she had told me that when she had her lumpectomy, they did an incision on the lateral part of her breast. And so I just assumed that that's where they did everybody's incision. I didn't realize it depended on where your tumor or carcinoma or cancer was. So when I had my surgery and I came out and I had some excessive bleeding after the surgery and I had to be seen in the emergency room, they took off my bandage and I about fainted because the incision was around my nipple. I had no idea that's even where the incision was. I wasn't told specifics. I didn't ask specifics. I saw the surgeon in the office when she gave me the results. I saw her before the surgery, and I think they'd already given me some medication. I've never seen her since. So for me, I think that felt very violating. It felt like I didn't have a lot of information. I didn't have a say. I felt surprised. I felt like things had been done to me that I didn't really know about. So looking back, I would have asked more questions. What is it going to look like? What is the recovery? Where is the incision? I think it would have helped me feel more in control. For me, the scariest part was trusting my body that it would recover and that the cancer wouldn't come back. That was really quite terrifying for me. I ended up in the emergency room after. And I think a lot of that also was this fear of I'm having a complication. Something went wrong. A lot of what I have gone through was learning to trust my body to heal, which I've never really been able to develop a really strong trust in it because it's usually been one thing after another. And I think that's a really important piece of the journey that I've been on is that I'm slowly starting to trust that my body knows the way. That's new for me. And I learned a lot through this process in terms of getting to that place with myself.
That was Spencer Moore's first-person health story. Our next one comes from listener Jen Johnson.
I was 19. I was in a medical facility and I was screaming and thrashing about as if I was being eaten alive by ants. I had a very advanced eating disorder and I wanted out of my skin as badly as I could because I didn't want to be there. I had made the decision to seek medical treatment for an eating disorder, one that I had had for over 3 years and one that was killing me, and I was allowing it to kill me. So April 9th of that year, I made the decision to seek medical treatment, to do outpatient, and once I got there, I immediately regretted my decision. That first week was horrible. I was still living at home. It's like the eating disorder decided, no, we're not really going to get treatment. We're just going to appease everybody and make it look like we are. By the end of July of that year, I had done inpatient treatment. I had done the halfway house. I was at a healthy weight for my height and build, and I was released. It would take the better part of 21 years for me to fully accept who I was, who I had been, and where I was going. But I did achieve it. I didn't grow up with body image issues. I never questioned who I was, what I was. I didn't care what my friends thought of me physically. I wore what I wanted to wear. I had this confidence that I stole from myself when I was 16. Dating the wrong person, being around the wrong influences, it almost cost me my life. So I worked on it, relapsed a few times, ended up marrying the right guy. At the end of 2022, I was living the best version of my life with my guy. I had the body image that I always wanted. I didn't question my body. I was okay with who I was and what I was. early February of 2023, I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer, and all of that was stolen from me. But again, sought medical treatment, did what I was supposed to do, gained 50 pounds from treatment, struggled with body image, but kept moving forward. In early 2025, we found out that my cancer was misdiagnosed. And then when I had surgery in summer of 2025, we found I had 10 sections of cancer that was never visible on scans. So I'm now back in the throes of trusting my body. Do I trust it? When do I trust it? How do I trust it? These are things that I feel like I never got the skill set for. And I suspect that society still does not know how to give the skill sets for. How do you trust your body when it hides so much from you? So as I approach 2026 and anniversaries of cancer coming up, April 9th coming up as being the 25-year marker from when I first sought medical treatment for an eating disorder, I now am back in the throes of how do I trust my body? There is no right and wrong answer to that. We just every day have to say, I am who I am. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And with a little bit of luck and a little bit of hope, maybe we'll come out on the other side. These are the byproducts of chronic physical and mental illness. Living in a society where your gender is generally not equal to where society brushes off your symptoms, your claims. Oh, that's hormonal. So one day at a time, we move forward. And who knows, maybe tomorrow will be the day that I trust my body again.
First Person Health is a workshop that gives listeners like you a chance to create immersive, powerful storytelling about women's health, the kind Overlooked is known for, and it's built around your story. That's what you learn in this class. So if you're interested in applying to be in it, check out our show notes and the episode description for the link to sign up. Overlooked is here for information and empowerment, but not medical advice. Every person's body is unique, so if you have questions, it is best to speak to your doctor or healthcare provider. We're building a community around women's health so that no one is overlooked. If you'd like to be part of it, hit the follow button on this podcast wherever you're listening to this. Or you can show us some love by writing us a review and sharing this episode with someone. Overlooked is written and created by me, Golda Arthur. Jessica Martinez de Hoz is the show's producer. You can stay up to date with the show by signing up for the newsletter and following us on Instagram and LinkedIn. We read every review and email, so write to us, hello@overlookedpod.com. Thanks for listening.